Awareness is everything. When you don't notice what's going on, do you think you can change anything? This is one of the things that I've been thinking about lately, and that I've been trying to be more aware of my own thoughts, of my own patterns, those old loops that we inevitably have in our heads. And what I've realized is that if you're just aware of them, it's so much easier to change. Because when those subconscious programs, those old beliefs, those old thoughts pop up in your head, they're like the devil on your shoulder, telling you what to think, telling you what to do, telling you how to react. Normally, we don't think about them. Normally, they're just there. We just react. It just sort of happens. And then we end up in a bad mood. We end up feeling like we've always felt because it's been programmed into our heads. But when you become aware of those patterns, of those thoughts, you can start to change them. You can start to question them. And you can ask yourself, why am I thinking this way? For me, it's been, I got a text message the other day, and suddenly, almost out of nowhere, I felt my fight or flight response kick in. It was almost surreal because I'm on vacation, right? And I get a text from my coworker, and bam, just like that, I feel like I'm panicking. I feel like I'm sweating, and my instant response is just like, I want to toss my phone away and I want to run out the door. That's how I feel internally, just from a text message. But when I realized, when I realized that that's how I felt, I had to ask myself, why? Why do I feel this way? What is it about this text message that's making me panic? That's making me act like I'm 5 years old. Like I'm playing on the playground and I see something scary, so I have to run away. What's making me do this? Because it's just a text message. There's no danger there. Nothing scary about it. I'm in my own room. I'm in like the safest space I can. But still I feel this stress. I feel this anxiety that just pops into my head. But if I wasn't aware of it, guess what would have happened? I would have kept repeating that pattern over and over and over again. And the next text message I would have gotten, I would have reacted the same way. When I go back to work on Monday, I probably would feel the same way. But I don't have to. Because when I'm aware of those feelings I've had, I can start to analyze what's making me feel this way. Okay, it's this old limiting belief. It's this old thought pattern I've had from these past experiences. That's what's making me think this way. That's what's making me feel this way. But is that how I want to feel? No. So how do I want to feel? I want to feel better. I want to feel happy. I want to feel positive. I want to feel grateful because I have an amazing job. I have amazing coworkers. I have an amazing life. I have everything I could ever ask for, and then some. and I want to feel grateful for it. But that response, that was an old thought pattern that showed up. That was my old self trying to take over and sort of, it's the animal inside of you, you know? When you let your old programs run the show, it's almost like you shut your brain off and you let your inner animal take charge, if that makes sense. So the trick is to be aware, to become aware of that inner animal that you have. Those old thought patterns, those old beliefs, the old you is constantly trying to take your place and run the show. But you can't let it. And this is easier said than done, obviously. But when you become aware of what your brain is doing, or what the inner animal is trying to fight you, then you can see why it's doing it and how it's doing it. And that's when you can slowly start to change it. And for me, it's been a lot of, okay, this is what I'm scared of. This is why I feel this anxiety. This is why I feel this stress response when I see the news that I got. Okay, how do I change this? How do I want to feel? Because it's a choice. I don't have to feel any way at all. I can choose how I want to feel. And I can change my perspective on it. Maybe in this instance, my old self would have thought that this is the worst news that I could have ever gotten in terms of my job. Maybe not quite, but let's exaggerate for a bit. While in reality, if I just choose that no, this isn't the worst that could have happened. This is a new season. This is a new challenge. This is just, I don't know, another level of the video game we're in. This is just one more thing that's going to level me up and help me become better. This is the next season in the show I'm in. Like, if we pretend like our lives are a long-going TV show, right? This is just a new season. This is just a bit of a change. Spice things up a bit. It was getting stale. The old season, like, you know, the audience didn't love it. It wasn't the best. So this season, we're gonna spice it up. And we're gonna, like, take things to the next level. We're gonna make them a little bit more challenging. We're gonna make them a little bit more different. We're gonna introduce some new characters. If you look at it that way instead, now it becomes fun. Now it becomes a challenge. Now it's something interesting and not something negative. But if I wasn't aware of how I reacted in the first place, I would have stayed stuck in my loop, and I never would have gotten here. I never would have seen it for what it can be. Because every situation is an opportunity. You just have to find the perspective to look at it in. When you find the right way to look at it, everything has more potential. Everything becomes better. So just observe, become aware. Be aware of the things around you. Be aware of the situations you're in. Be aware of your own behavior. Of your own thoughts. become aware of the inner animal that's constantly trying to take over, and choose whether you want the animal or you want yourself to run the show. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next video.